Hey, good morning, Facebook family. Hope you're doing awesome. Wednesday, midweek, get over the hump. Gosh, feels like we've just been kind of on an upward battle, right? So hope you're doing awesome, getting your day started. It's another rainy day here in the backyard, the new office as the family took over my home office. Hope you're doing well when you come on here. If you're coming on live or in the replay, love to know where you are in this world. Share. This is community-based here. This is not just one way. Although you may be hearing from me, I'd love to hear from you, and you can just type that in the comments. Welcome to the Daily Dose, episode number 17. Kind of crazy to think 17 days have gone by since I started this, and completely honest, I didn't realize probably 3 weeks ago that I was going to do a daily show, if you will, or a daily live. But with that said, 17 days later, here we are, the Daily Dose with me. And why do you want a daily dose of me? Because I'm going to give you some encouragement. Just on a side note, what I do for a living, I'm an online coach, health and fitness. I help moms and dads over 40, typically over 40, on a healthy journey to weight loss and to do so without long workouts and impossible diets. But for now, I know much more than the fitness, much more than maybe necessarily trying to lose weight or get in better shape. And that might be on your radar. And if it is, we can talk about that. But today I want to share with you a bit of encouragement. And I want to talk about specifically what's going on. Tom, welcome. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming on here. Appreciate you, man. It's been great. It's getting to know people that I've known for a while that maybe you're now connecting more, and new people that are coming on. And I know everybody's getting new friend requests, and completely open and transparent. And for my business, I've been using Facebook for business purposes primarily, as well as I've been using Instagram. But to be completely honest, Instagram, it was a little too much to try to do both. And I realized that most of the people that I talk to are your moms and dads and working business professionals and people in at least my season. I say a lot of you share that same season. You got kids that are home from school. Maybe you're business owners. Maybe you're struggling with work. We're all kind of in a storm, right? Maybe in a different boat, but in a storm. But I want to share with you about guardrails and why you need guardrails in your life. And that's what I wanted to label it today. Because I woke up and I was thinking, if you notice, I got these glasses on and I wear contacts. So I'll tell you kind of a brief story. I wear contacts. They're really cool contacts. I've been wearing contacts since high school for like a long time, right? 30 years. And they've changed in prescription. And the cool thing is, on a side note, is that my eyes actually improved a bit. And even though these look like Coke bottles, they actually improved. And I don't wear glasses, in fact, because I'm active, play sports, exercise. It's kind of hard with the glasses. I didn't care. They're fogging up. So I got contacts. And I got these new ones I've been using for a while. And they're awesome. You wear them, you put them in for a month, and then you take them out. And then you throw them away. You put in a new pair, and they're awesome. They've been great. They're like hyper permeable. But here again, my conversation is not about guardrails in relation to contact lenses. But I want to share with you, as I put these glasses on, when I take them off, I can see myself here, but I can't read. I can't see anything unless I look up close. And I don't know if you can feel me on that. Those of you that wear glasses, that our eyes are getting worse. I am very encouraged that we have the ability to see through prescription type lenses. So with that, I would say is what's interesting with glasses versus contacts, and this goes into my talk about guardrails, is that I can't see. Like I can look, and we of course lose our periphery to a bit, like on the side, right? We have those blind spots. But I would say if I look to the left or to the right, I can't really see, whereas my contacts kind of go with it. But I have to actually turn my head. So it's really interesting adapting to these, and I'll put them on I'll just wear them maybe for part of the day, and then I'll put new contacts on. Hey, Phyllis, what's going on? And thanks for jumping on here. And so anyway, I had these on, and I was thinking of guardrails, and I was thinking, gosh, isn't that so true? And I practice, and I'll kind of share my personal experience, because I'm a bit of a guardrail for a lot of people. I have been for a long time. With regards to people in their health and fitness journeys, I've provided guardrails to keep them on the right path. So what is guardrail, right? Like what does a guardrail do? It keeps you from staying out of danger, right? If you think of like a big cliff, think if you're driving down like a road in the Colorado Rockies, and there's this guardrail up on the side, and say there's snow on the road, and again, what's the guardrail to prevent you to do from going off the cliff, to having danger? And I don't know I'm sure you have, right? If you've driven, is nothing more fearful than seeing those guardrails that are there and you see them broken out, and people like have driven off of the guardrails, off of a bridge or off of a cliff. That's like super scary. But in fact, you know what a guardrail is? Kind of like these glasses is a guardrail. So my question to you what would it take to stay calm during the times that we're in right now? I know we're talking about guardrails. What would it take to stay calm during times of uncertainty and not waver? And I say that because what happens when we waver? We tend to go up against the guardrail. Now, if you have no guardrail, what happens? If you're driving on that Colorado mountain and there's no guardrails there, then what happens? You go off the cliff. If there's an icy road and you don't maybe have the right kind of car, four-wheel drive, spikes on the tires. And what happens, right? If you're not protected, you don't have those guardrails in place, or let's just say preventative measures in place. What happens when you're not certain about how this road is around the corner? Is you can, if you lose your steering, you can go off the cliff. Same thing like here. If I took these off now, like I can't see anything. I can see, but I couldn't function properly. And again, for me, the glasses give me vision to be able to see and to do things like lives at 8 or lives at, what time are we on? 8 a.m. Yeah, sorry. I used to do a live a long, long time ago. But anyway, so here's the thing. What would it take for you to stay calm during these times right now so that you don't waver, so you don't get wishy-washy and start bumping up against the rails? Like what's it going to take? And I would say is being cautious, because we talked about yesterday, and we talked about wisdom and going after. There's one thing about going after wisdom, but if you got no accountability, no guardrails, no boundaries set up, it's easy to get off track and easy to put yourself in some dangers. And that's the last thing I want to really hone in on, and I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit. So I hope you hang on here with me. Thanks, Vinny. Welcome, Cynthia. Welcome. I appreciate it. Listen, all I ask in return, if you like this, if you took the time, I know you can't get this time back, so I appreciate it. But in the times where we can be focused on all the negativity and all of the doom and gloom and all the stress, things that add stress to our lives, is if I can add a bit of encouragement to you, that's why I'm doing this every day. Indefinitely, every day, 8 a.m., daily dose of encouragement, and that's my encouragement. So we're talking about guardrails if you're just jumping on here. And, we talked about it being basically a barrier from going off in those dangerous areas. And I would say is when we don't waver, what does that look like? That means not to be wishy-washy, right? It means not to be a hypocrite, right? Is to say, don't worry, and then all you do is worry to yourself. To also be filled with fear is one thing, you can be encouraged. And I experience sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm cautious, but I'm not necessarily fearful. I'm fearful because I'm really leaning more on my faith now than I've ever before. And again, this is not necessarily a faith talk, but that's just for me personally. And then the other thing is, what does it take? It also takes not reverting back to old ways. And I can tell you, one of those things is when people come into, and why I can relate to this, I'm so dialed into this with people, is that people rely on me to be their guardrails. They rely on me for putting boundaries in place for good and guardrails. I asked a question yesterday about if you needed to lose 10 pounds, or if you could lose 10 pounds in a month, how many months would it take for you to get to your goal, to get to your ideal weight? And again, now this is we're just talking numbers and talking about weight, and there's much more obviously to the fitness thing for that. But I got a lot of responses, and it was great. And I love engaging and commenting and sharing and trying to do my part to help. But I would say is in that, the biggest thing, everybody looks at the exercise. Everybody looks at the nutrition. Everybody looks at the components that go into it. But you know what the number one thing is? The really, truly probably difference between why people succeed. There's a couple of things, but the difference between why people succeed when they actually have guardrails and accountability and boundaries that's it. They have accountability, guardrails, and boundaries. Most of the time, people that try to lose weight and get in better shape and try to get on a healthier path, they don't have any guardrails. They don't have any boundaries or no accountability. And if it's like, oh, well, I have a friend that I go to the gym with and work out. And honestly, I can tell you I've talked to probably 20 people in the last month, all said the same thing when I was asking them about the fitness. It's like, hey, I had a friend and now we don't go to the gym together, and then there's no accountability. Or this one is, I'm still working and things are going pretty well for me, but for my friend, they're not going so well, so they're just eating crappy and they're starting to drink more, and then they're going off track and they're not helping me out at all. And there's the difference, right? There's no really I say this, and it's kind of, I don't forget the word, is it cliche? That whole skin in the game. When people come into my program, yeah, there's nutrition, but you can get nutrition. There's workouts, you can get workouts. You can figure that out. Honestly, you can go on and look at the 450 million hits on Google, how to lose weight, and you can try to decipher which one you should listen to and how to do it and how best to do it. And you can go that route. I can tell you it's really hard, because typically there's no accountability, no guardrails, no boundaries. You're looking at everybody's opinions. And why is mine necessarily different than anybody else's? It isn't. It's one, and it's actually not my opinion. It's based on 25 years of experience. So people come into my world and they're saying, all right, Mark, you have 25 years of experience working with people, helping them weight loss. You're providing the guardrails for me. I need the guardrails. I need the accountability. I know what to eat, Mark. I know I need to exercise more, but I need somebody to hold my ass to the fire so that I get it done. And that's really, truly the difference. So on that, some examples. Now let's just kind of get off the fitness, because I don't want this to be about fitness necessarily, because this can be related to anything, any danger. Anything that you think of. Health is a danger, right? If you don't take care of your health, you can go off the cliff on those Colorado mountains, if you will, to go back to that. And then if you don't have guardrails in place, if there's no accountability, if you have no boundaries set up, it's easy to go back and fall off track. Perfect example. If you had no accountability and you had no guardrails and you had no boundaries and you were doing well, maybe you lost like 10 pounds, maybe you lost 20 pounds, maybe you've been on this health and fitness journey for a while. And again, I'm just relating to what I know because I'm talking to people about it. And now things shut down. Your gym is shut down. It's harder to maybe get those healthier meals. Maybe you have access to delivering them, but maybe you're just stressed and that's getting you in the way, because stress messes with your hormones and that messes with your weight loss, right? I mean, that's it. Maybe you've been doing really, really well and now your schedule is completely different. Now, instead of your schedule going to work, you're home, you're trying to work out and you can't, and your times are different. All those things kind of suck right now, right? Like that's a problem. They kind of suck right now. And in the midst of that, if you don't have accountability, if you don't have guardrails, you don't have any kind of boundaries set up, then where do you go? You're going to go off the cliff, right? So there's a difference. Here's what happens with my clients and what I've seen now. So let's pretend, like my glasses, let's pretend right here, the guardrails are set up, right? So my clients, what they're experiencing now, because they're all going through a very similar storm to you. Like I said, they may be in a different boat, maybe different circumstances, and this is not to discount the fact that maybe you lost your job and maybe your health is compromised and maybe you've already were stressed out, you already had anxiety, you're already taking medicine, and now it's like 10x with everything going on, and then your eyes are looking at the TV and your mind is thinking the thoughts, and then you're hearing from people all the dangerous things, and then that's just throwing you into a complete tailspin like that. I know that's true for a lot of people because I've been talking to a lot. But here's what I'm going to share with you. As my clients that I've been working with are kind of going through similar things, I'm their guardrails. I don't have all the answers, but I'll tell you what, if I know if they're struggling, if they're starting to bump up, hey, Mark, I had a couple extra glasses of wine. Hey, Mark, I don't want to lose my progress. And you know what? But I didn't check in with you this week. They're bumping up against the guardrails. Here's the thing. They have to report to me when they come into my program. They have to let me know when they're maybe stuck or struggling at a yellow light or maybe at a red light. We talk it out. We work through it. We make adjustments. The cool thing about my program, for the most part, there hasn't been a need for too many adjustments because the majority of my clients work out at home anyway, and my programs are body weight, for the most part, home-based training workouts that are doable anywhere at any time. That's really a cool thing. But even with that, it's still hard because now you're maybe work schedule. Okay, Mark, now my morning time is different. Now I have to help my kids with schoolwork. And now that's taken away from the time that I go work out. So they're bumping up against those rails. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, and you're hearing this, even if it's on the replay, give me a thumbs up, because I'll tell you what, I got guardrails set up in my life. Now, that's just on the fitness example. Let's talk two things, family and faith. So family examples, one of the things, we got kids that are home. Like, we have some rules. Now, it's been a little lax. I can't say it's been perfect. In fact, it's been a struggle. I got kids that now, instead of out of the house at 7 a.m., they're getting up at 8:30. They don't have like a teacher they have to report to. They have work to do. Public school system just a little bit different. But they're getting their work done. And they're wanting to get out, and I have to be like kind of careful of what we allow them to do. So there's a little bit of guidance. They depend on us, but things change. I'll say, but what are they doing? They're relying on mom and dad, right? As we did as kids for the most part. If you had parents that were, giving you those boundaries, that's essentially the same thing. But how it happens as adults, right? We don't have any more boundaries. We're off on our own, and that's what a lot of times people get in the way. And they enjoy food, and they go out, and they stop exercising, and then next thing you know, 10 years ends up being 30, 40 pounds, and next thing you know, they're reaching out to me because they're stuck, right? And they're like, Mark, I didn't have any guardrails. I haven't had any boundaries for the last 20 years, and now my body's in really terrible shape, and that's where I can help. So that's on a family example. One of the other things too, communicating with my wife and I'll just share this with you. I think this is super important to understand. There's all kinds of boundaries, not just the fitness ones. Boundaries from us. We make sure we communicate with each other. My wife went into the hospital today. She works in a clinic. She works at Mayo Clinic and typically doesn't see like emergency patients. Check this out. On a side note, if you're listening to this, if you know my wife, you need to give her props because she had the option. There's options, right? And if you're a nurse, she's a nurse practitioner and works in GI, so it's specialty. But the problem is there's not as many patients. They're not having elective stuff come in, right? Appointments, if you're in the healthcare field, you understand what I'm saying. But they invited, hey, you want to do training so that if we have a need in the hospital, in the emergency area, that you would, and it is optional now. This is not something you have to do. You can certainly take a leave, do furlough, whatever. And this is my wife, which is awesome, by the way. And you know where she's at right now? She's doing hospital training right now. So I would ask for your prayers. So again, she's a little nervous. We communicate. There's boundaries, guardrails. Honey, I want to know where you're at. I want to know. I want to pray for you and make sure. By all means, feel free to pray for my wife. And the other thing is just in a family standpoint, again, I'm not a family counselor. I've been married for 18 years next month, by the way. 18 years of marriage, and it hasn't been easy. But I'll say the biggest thing is we do two big things in our marriage. Actually have to be intentional about it too. I don't just say this, is we have to intentionally communicate with each other. We get on each other's nerves and get pissed off and we need to like separate and all that. That's one thing. And at the end of the day, we try not to go to bed ever, any night. We try not to go to bed angry with each other. And again, well, how does that happen? With communication. So again, we're setting boundaries, putting guardrails. We're making sure that things don't escalate or we don't go off a cliff. Hey, there's the same thing with, and I'm just going to share this with you because no guys talk about this, with lust. Just talk about this with looking at other women. Hey, don't get me wrong, and I'm just going to go there right now with guys, and this maybe is a little bit far off, but you know what? I'm going there anyway. Is that just because you're married and maybe you've been married for a long time and say, oh, no, I don't have a lust problem. I don't look at other women. I don't do that. It's still there, right? If you're married to a woman, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be other women that are attractive. But one of the things and why I say that is because it's been a guardrail, is I had to learn to put guardrails in my life, right? I work in the fitness industry. Are you kidding me? So putting guardrails is making sure I'm open and communicating, making sure that I am not alone with another woman. You might think that's crazy, but I'll tell you what, that's been a great guardrail for me. It's kept me away from going off the cliff in that respect. So let's just talk about faith examples, and it kind of lines in with that. I have in faith. So let's talk about needing guardrails in your life. Hey, I would even say this doesn't even negate, like, just because you maybe have good faith and you're a Christian and you're a believer and you believe in God and that he's going to see you through this, it doesn't mean you don't need guardrails either. You need guardrails. And for me, I'm just sharing you some examples, just some legit examples. Of course, having a church family, right? Like, here's the thing. You can go to church, but if you're not engaged, if you're not present, maybe serving or in some sort of a disciple group or a life group and have other people who you can lean on when times are troubling, that's hard. If you're trying to go through this alone, and this may be the first step. It's like, what? Nobody's ever said this to me before. I've never really been a church person. I don't really feel. Maybe this is the time, perfect opportunity. I know a lot of people are going to church now, are actually thinking about this whole concept of God, because at the end of the day, I'll tell you, that's what's holding me together. Outside of my fitness, outside of guardrails, the biggest guardrail I have in my life is my faith and belief in Jesus Christ. That's it at the end of the day. This whole past weekend was just like the Super Bowl of Super Bowls and understanding hope. And I have hope because he had hope in us. And he did so much that he put his son to the cross to die for us. That's crazy, again, not to go off on that. But one of the other things, my faith as far as guardrails, is being in a men's group, having a men's group to lean on, to report to. Now, I'm in actually a couple different ones. And you know what? It's not like I'm just doing this to check it off the list. I do it because I rely on other brothers in Christ. My coach, I hired a coach and spent an enormous amount of money, and I'm still doing it. And it's an investment in me. I've hired a coach just as people hire me to help them with weight loss. The cool thing is that they see their coach doing the exact same thing. There's nothing worse. Check this out. If you're working with a coach or a trainer, or like any person in that realm that's kind of in my field, a personal trainer or a health coach or fitness coach, online, in person, and they're not investing in, say, a coach or a mentor like you're investing in them, regardless of what the amount is, I'll tell you what, you might want to reconsider your options for coaching. I can tell you one of the biggest and best things that I've done for the health of my clients, for like the ripple effect for my coaching clients, has been to set up guardrails and to set up boundaries and to set up accountability from my coach to ensure that I deliver not just the best product, but that I can deliver and become the best coach, the best and most valuable coach for people, a lot of people who are relying on me. They're relying on me for accountability and relying on me to be their guardrails, because there'd be nothing worse than me being a coach that just has, say, hey, here's a workout, here's some nutrition, hey, go do this. And then there's no guardrails. Well, what's going to happen? Go back to that road in Colorado when the snow is, when the times are tough. And maybe you're experiencing that right now. Maybe you have a wishy-washy, hypocrite type of coach, a fear-filled coach or a trainer, somebody that's reverting back to old ways. Those are things. Think of that in your time where you're looking into maybe getting on this healthier path. And it's not too late to change. Sometimes it just requires something like this to happen for you to change the path that you're on. Again, and then, at the end of the day, the number one thing for me in having guardrails and why actually this came up this morning, and I have quiet time. I get up at 4:30 and I have my coffee, my quiet time and prayer. And that's the biggest guardrail for me every single day. I can tell you without fail. Now, again, this regardless of where your belief in God is or not. I can just tell you, 47 years old, I don't have it all together. I don't have all the answers. I'm just as jacked up. We have struggles and challenges. They're there. I know they're even coming. I know even if I'm not affected by the virus itself, if I don't get this coronavirus, right? I heard that said the other day from a pastor, Rona. If I don't get this coronavirus, and if my business may be using, I'm going to be affected. The reality is we're all going to be affected by this. But I'll tell you what, my belief and my faith and my guardrails right here, and they're solid. Like I said, I feel even stronger. Part of me doing this and being open about my faith helps me get closer to God, because honestly, why I'm doing this is I feel close to Him already. And how is that happening? It's because I'm spending time with Him. It doesn't mean you have to be a Bible nerd. It doesn't mean you have to watch every single church service. It just means you have to spend time with Him. You just have to ask Him into your life. That's kind of the first step. If you want my most valuable guardrail that's in my life, the biggest, most valuable guardrail in my life, while it's been the hardest challenge, I would say, as far as trying to stay true to that kind of not bumping up, and I bump up often, but I will say it was the easiest starting point for me. And all it took was me just saying, Lord, I want you in my life. Jesus, I want you to be in the driver's seat. That's it. Like, that's kind of starting. But I know that I mess up. I know that I'm jacked. I know that I have thoughts that are not good thoughts. I know that there's sin in my life, and there's tons of different things, and I'm not going to go into that, but I can tell you at the end of the day is that I know that I had somebody who went to the cross for my sins, and went for all the things that I struggle and fight with. And I'll tell you what, that and the forgiveness that we get from God, that right there alone is the biggest guardrail for me. So Proverbs, here's one of the things, I'll leave this with you. Proverbs 22:3 says, the prudent sees danger and hides himself. And that doesn't mean just hunkering down in your house, although you can apply it to that. But the simple go on and suffer for it. Now, it's kind of interesting and ironic, because when I read that, I was like, wait a second. I feel like I'm a pretty simple guy. Like, you get what you get with me, right? And I feel like that. So I was thinking it's simple. It's not that. It's just simple as in thinking you got it all together. Like, it's I got this. No problem. I can do this. Until you don't. And then where are you at, right? Because reality is, at some point in your life, you're not going to have this, and you're not going to be able to figure it out. And this is maybe that season right now you're in, and you don't know what tomorrow is going to be. You don't know what this coronavirus is going to be. You don't know if you're going to get sick. You don't know if you have a job. You don't know if you'll be able to pay your bills. You don't know if the stress isn't going to eat you alive. You don't know if you're going to die. Like, those types of things, right? And in Proverbs, and this is really cool, the prudent sees danger and hides himself. And what I see it is it means more leaning into your Heavenly Father when you believe the world, and the earth, and what's going on in this world is at complete up in the air right now. We don't know anything going on. So I just want that to be an encouragement to you, is just all about guardrails today. If you're just catching this now, is to go back and watch, go back and listen to it. And all I ask is, if you like this, is that you share this with somebody. Because here's the thing, Now you might have guardrails, and this may be like, oh yeah, I got those, man. Hey, good message. That was good stuff. I appreciate you guys for being on here. Kimberly and Leslie, appreciate Deb and Peyton. Thank you. I'm going to wave to you now. Sorry, I get kind of focused. You know, I got my guardrail set up, and when I start going, sometimes don't look down. And I want to just say thank you for watching. So here's the thing. Even if you have guardrails, good guardrails in your life, maybe this is a message that you need to send to a friend. You can send this in a private message. You can send this and put this to your page and just be like, hey, if you've been feeling like you're bumping up, you know, or on this like rocky road or like a dangerous path and you're about ready to fall off a cliff, and that can mean a number of different things, all I ask in your return is to share this with somebody, because who knows, it can help. Whether it be thinking about like, oh, I need some guardrails. I need some health guardrails. I need a coach in my life. I need to get in touch with Mark. Do that. Reach out to me. We'll get on a call. We'll see if my program's the right fit. It's pretty super easy. Here's what you do. You reach out to me. I'm going to make this super simple when it comes to health. And then the other things you can think about, your faith thing you can think about, you can family examples for guardrails. You can think about all that stuff. But for here, right now, I'm going to give you practical. If you're stuck, and there was a number of people yesterday that said, hey, 10 pounds per month, it's going to take 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. Some were joking about it. Yeah, that's cool, whatever. 4 months. This is what I do. Maybe the fact that you're at 4 months or 6 months or 2 months or 3 months or what have you, and maybe you've been stuck in there before this coronavirus. Maybe it's been that way for the last, maybe you've had 30 pounds to lose for the last 10 years. And maybe the only difference is right now is you have nobody sticking the guardrail up to put that boundary in place to give you the accountability you need so that you don't fall off of the cliff. Truly, that's honestly probably for a good amount of people who are, regardless if you're even 10 pounds overweight. If you've been 10 pounds overweight for 10 years, chances are you have nothing set up. Oh, no, I had that friend I used to go to the gym with. You know, I tried that Weight Watchers. I tried the point system. You know, I don't know anybody that's done Weight Watchers only once. That should be an indication right there that it isn't a solution. That's all. And that's not to knock Weight Watchers, because that's the case with everything. Keto, same thing. And I get people bashing me on that. You know, like keto. I'm doing a keto. That's, you know, it's great, but I like to take away from this. It's not a solution. Because I can tell you a year ago, I remember when hearing after, like in 2019, everybody was jumping on the keto wagon. I never hear them see or post or talk about keto again. And I would say either they just got tired of posting it, or people got tired of watching it, or chances are my probably instinct says that they said, you know what, I need a little bit of carbohydrates in my life. So again, this is not to knock that either, just to tell you that it's probably the case of not having guardrails, not having accountability. When you pay for accountability and pay for guardrails and have a coach who understands exactly what you need, exactly what you don't, how to work out, what you should be eating, how you should be eating to get to the goals that you want, all those times. There's 100 or so of you that posted yesterday on how many months it would take. What if you're listening to this and you commented the other day and you shared with me one of those, you gave a number, 3, 6, 4, 2, whatever, and you've been that way for a while. I can tell you this, what if I were to guarantee that I could help you with whatever number you gave me? What if I were to give you a personal guarantee that if you followed my plan, now again, my program's not the right fit, so we have to see if it's the right fit first, because I don't just work with anybody. In fact, I've learned the hard way in the past 25 years that you just can't please everybody all the time. Coach told me that a while back, not this one, a different one. And it's if you try to please everybody all the time, you might as well kiss your ass goodbye. And you know what? I struggle with that because I try to be a people pleaser. Now I'm not anymore. I'm telling you who I am. I can tell you that my program, it's called the Lean Body Breakthrough, is designed for men and women, busy moms and dads, typically over 40. Not to say that I won't work with somebody in their 30s, but you got to be the right fit. Somebody in their 50s, I have some clients that are in their 60s, and they're the right fit. And I know I can help them. But trust me, I know I can't help every single person, but I guarantee you, if you're the right fit and your number, whatever number that is I can give you a personal guarantee that I would actually provide not only the guardrails to get you to that number, get that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds off. I'm that confident. It's not about like my opinion. It's about that I've been able to do that for hundreds of people over the past 25 years. And I've kind of dialed it in now, or it's taken me 25 years. Don't get me wrong, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in group fitness and personal training and owning a gym in having different businesses, golf fitness business. Hey, if you're a golfer, I can help you, right? I don't even promote doing golf fitness. But if you're just trying to lose weight and trying to get on a healthier path, there's no doubt in my mind, it's time maybe for you to make that investment. And that might be with me. All you got to do is message me, send me a message later. We'll hop on right after this, send me a message. We'll hop on a quick call. 10 minutes, I'll be able to let you know whether or not my program be a good fit. That's all I got. Daily Dose with Mark Avens. Take care. Have a blessed day. We'll see you.